Welcome back, and thank you for joining A Shark's Perspective with your favorite shark. That's me, Kenneth Kinney. For performance sharks like me, direct mail is generally an extremely important piece of the lead gen puzzle for quite a few industries, but very few brands or agencies get excited about it. It's somewhat of a legacy tactic with some limitations and often siloed in a lot of campaign efforts. Most agencies don't bring it up, and even fewer businesses know well how to integrate a direct mail campaign into other efforts, let alone measure the performance. If you do it right tactically, though, it can really boost campaign performance. Ryan Cote is the Director of Digital Services and Partner at Ballantine, a third-generation family-owned direct mail and digital marketing company. And on this episode, we'll discuss integrating direct mail, print, and digital transformation, IKEA catalogs and those meatballs, self-improvement, silkies and persistent hunters, Ronan Ziegler, and a lot more. So let's tune in to a digital postman, if you will, with a shark who's never going to mail it in on this episode of A Shark's Perspective. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today on A Shark's Perspective. If you would, tell us a little bit about your background and your career today.
Hey, Shark. Yep. So my name is Ryan Cote. I work for a company called Ballantine. I'm partners in the agency with my two brothers and my uncle. We do direct mail production and digital marketing. And the company goes back to the mid 60s. My great uncle started the company in 1966. And so we're going on 55 years now. And we're based out in New Jersey. And we're remote with COVID, and we're permanently remote. It's been an interesting change, but technically we still have an office in Fairfield, New Jersey.
So what made you want to get into the family business? And the two brothers are there as well, you said?
Two brothers, my uncle, and then our cousin is there as well. So
that's a fairly common practice to see people get into a business, but an agency life, if you will, is a little bit different. So credit to you and the family for having a 50-plus-year-old agency, but at the same time, that's not the life for everybody. What made you want to get into the family business?
Yeah, it's a good question. I had no intentions of being in the family business. I had two marketing jobs outside of college doing direct mail list rental, which is funny enough that I had no plans, but I guess maybe there was a seed planted somewhere in there because I got into a semi adjacent field. And I think it was when my middle brother, Matt, joined the company. I started thinking about it might be neat to work with him. My youngest brother didn't join until like 10 years later. But I saw him in the company and just thinking about my future. And, the company did not have a marketing person, and that was my degree. And so I was like, all right, well, there's a natural fit for me because we do need someone. And I can create that department, a department of one. And so it was 2003, I think, where I approached my father and uncle and said, I want to come into the family business. And we talked about it, what that would look like. And 17 years later, here we are.
Well, before we jump into the topic of the day, I do want to know, because I know this is important for everybody that's gone through digital transformation, if you will, but it's almost like the same kind of story. What are some of the lessons you've learned by taking that business? Because at least most agencies that start today, they're all digital all the time. There's not a lot of companies that are getting into the print space, direct mail space. So much of direct mail for so many people still revolves around a few major players for these major brands. And then for a lot of smaller brands, luckily there's a lot of on-demand type services. But at the same time, it's got to be a real transition to help not only companies survive and make that transition from print to digital, but also the agency itself.
Yeah, it definitely, there's been a lot of learnings for sure. I wouldn't say it's been easy, but it's been very rewarding. I think the advantage that we had is I had a digital background before we started the division. I've always had like side websites, teaching myself SEO, dabbling in Google Ads, affiliate marketing, all of that. I had a really deep interest in it. Going back to even in college, I can just go on and on with the stories, but I had a deep interest in it. And a fair amount of experience. I wouldn't say I was an expert, but I was, like anything, when you're really interested in something, you just tend to spend a lot of time in it. And so the one key takeaway is that we started small. So my main thing back then was SEO, search engine optimization. So I said, well, let's start offering this to clients but we'll just have one service. We're not going to offer a full suite because then I would need to find partners and outsource, and it would just be very complicated. And I didn't think it would be feasible. And so we started off with just SEO. So I think the one key takeaway there is starting small. At least that's how it worked for us. So we started with SEO. And then once we had some clients and just some feedback and just some more experience, then we started offering social media and using an outsourced partner. Then my youngest brother came on board, and we got our couple of our really big first big clients for us big, and that enabled us to hire a team. And so for us, it was like a slow and steady build. And then I think if you fast forward to today, what I've learned, just having done it for a bunch of years now, we have a team. It's leadership is super important, and that's something that I'm still learning, and I have a lot to learn.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't come natural for me, I guess, but I think, does it come natural to anyone? Maybe, I don't know, but I think there's always, cause you got to manage people differently, based on their personalities. So it's something that you'll always have to improve. But for me, it's been investing in the team. I think I realized that, like, clients are important, of course. So you need to make sure that they're taken care of. Absolutely. But the team takes care of the clients, and without the team, you don't have a company. And so I've found that investing in the team has been really key. And I do my best to like pour into them and personal development, make sure they're okay, and try to get as close to perfect as possible. But that again is that like the leadership is a work in progress too.
Well, if 2020's taught us anything, especially for leaders, I don't care what kind of natural born leader you are, if you haven't had to relearn how to manage people, especially keep them engaged when they're remote, that's changed things. So let's jump in then and talk a little bit about print and digital. Define where you see what the market is for print today and what you mean by print and how you guys help support that. Because a lot of things, to most people, it means some outdated technology that was used with the Sanskrips written in Aramaic, and nobody looks at it anymore. I know that it just came up on the news that IKEA is killing off their catalog. So that's the end of one of the most famous catalogs that only provided me Swedish meatball names that I didn't understand. But print is such an important point for a lot of different brands to still drive a lot of leads and growth.
Yeah, and for print for us, it's really direct mail. And before we start recording, you had recommended that we update print to direct mail on our website, and that's a good piece of advice, because I think you're right. Print can be sometimes understood as like print ads.
Yeah, magazine ads that nobody.
Ads.
And there's still an industry for them. It's just not where the focus is if you really want to drive growth today.
Yeah, exactly. So for us, print is direct mail. So direct mail production companies that do a lot of direct mail will come to us to get their creative printed and mailed and on time and all of that. And so for us, it's direct mail production. Where do I see it going? I mean, so the direct mail, even though we started the digital division, our direct mail division is still very healthy, had a great year last year. So how we've done that is a couple of things. So we're brokers, and so we have a network of printers that we use. And so we partner with specific types of partners and specific type of printers, family owned like us, and there's other criteria, but they're always investing in new technology, different presses and stuff. And so we have to stay on top of that and introduce that to our clients, different types of formats that are possible now, different types of direct mail products that are possible. Like, even stuff as unique as like video mailers, which, is not as unique now, but it was at one point. And so it's keeping up with the technology, but also the industries that we work in. We were very heavy into travel, which unfortunately with COVID, that isn't a good thing right now, but last year it was a good thing. So travel and nonprofits. So we're very specific about the industries that we operate in, because certain industries use direct mail more than others. And so nonprofits are very big for us, and travel and hospitality is very big for us. And that's been an important part of our growth as well.
Why travel? I totally get nonprofits, see it all the time. I see it in home services all the time, but I'm trying to think the last thing I've gotten in print mail for travel, other than I've gotten some random postcard offer for some property in Cancun I've never heard of.
Yeah.
That I randomly got. But what does that look like?
And I should look into home services. That's a good piece of advice. But For travel, it's really so for us. It's mainly the cruise companies, and so they have these brochures, and their audience likes to thumb through the booklet or the brochure and pick out their cruise. It's got a long life. They'll mail it out. They'll keep it until they're ready to pick their cruise, and so they just mail a lot of direct mail, and so that's a good fit for us. We're looking for clients that mail a lot of direct mail, and that's what the cruise companies do.
So I know from being on the brand side where that conversation came from, especially in the lead generation space, where you're looking, more holistically than just a specific channel, like social. But who's coming to you most of the time? Or is it you coming to them most of the time saying, we'd like to marry, if you will, a digital and direct mail campaign together? Is it you bringing it to the brand, or is it the brand? Maybe it's a CMO coming to you because, for the most part, most younger marketing managers are not the ones coming to you saying, Ryan, I've got this great idea for a mail campaign for something. A lot of those are going to come from brands who've used direct mail over the years. This is not really what most people think of as a new entry point, a new channel that people are jumping on TikTok a lot more than they're jumping on direct mail as a new channel, if you will. So, and I'm not trying to discount direct mail. I know it's a fantastic conversion point that goes part of that journey, but I'm really curious who's coming to you or you coming to them to make this marriage of direct mail and digital happen.
I would say it's a combination. So if we look at the direct mail side, it's the real marriage. So typical, like if we look at the cruise company, they have a whole full team of digital marketing people, like the whole suite of people, like bigger than our company, you know, and then they've got their marketing people that do direct mail, and they lean on us for our expertise and almost like a mentorship role. And so for that in that relationship, it's us bringing it to them. First of all, they don't need us for like Facebook ads, like uploading lists and all that. They can just do that themselves. So for us, it's really introducing new ideas like this informed delivery from the USPS. That's one way. That's one new idea that we've been able to introduce to them that they haven't thought of, or they don't know about, whatever the case is. And that's basically the USPS product that you can sign up for an email of what's in your inbox. And so you get the email, it shows the mail piece from the cruise company or whatever the piece is. And then there's a link to the person's website, to the client's website, to the mailer's website. And so, you've got the direct mail going out, and then you've got the email going to the person that's showing, what's coming in their mailbox with a link to the client's website. And so that's been an interesting way to introduce digital into print, into direct mail that they didn't know about. And so we have more clients testing it. Jury's out if it's worth doing, but there's no charge for it. So for us, it's like, why not get that extra touch point in the client's inbox plus what you're going to get in their mailbox?
And generally, how are they coming to you with what the ways they're measuring the success of the campaign by doing that? You said the jury's still out. How are they starting to measure the offline to online?
Yeah, so with the informed delivery, you actually get the amount of clicks that are coming to their site. And obviously they've got their stats that they're looking at in terms of response rate from the direct mail. So, those are conversations that we don't really get involved in with them. But if I had to assume, they're looking at, did the form delivery suppress response, or did it increase response? And then how many clicks did they get from the website off the informed delivery email? And was it worth it? Again, there's no charge for it, but if they see it suppressing response rates, then I'm guessing they wouldn't do it.
So in general, how do you look at how to integrate print and digital then together? Let's say I come to you, a new client, and I've got $1 million that I want to spend, whatever the industry is, home services, travel and leisure, or whatever it is. And I've just come up to you with that. How are you shaping a campaign, if you will, with print and digital and integrating the two together?
Yeah, in the perfect world, we're taking advantage of it all. So what that looks like is, okay, so we have a mailing list, and it's got postal and email, so we can do everything. So we basically have the mail piece go out. We've got the informed delivery, so we're going to get that free, the free email touch point. Then we're going to upload the list into Facebook and maybe LinkedIn if it makes sense. So then we're running ads to those people, and then we're going to send out our own email because we have that data. And so that's like the best case scenario, because there's a lot of touch points happening. It's a fully integrated campaign. the prospect, the person on our list, is getting our mail piece. They're getting the email from the post office. They're getting the email from us, and they're seeing our ads in their feeds on Facebook and or LinkedIn. All the same creative, the same message, the same offer. That's like the best case scenario.
Yeah. And so most of the time with their data, are you basically taking their first party data and bumping it up against an Experian Epsilon Axiom type data list and then loading that hashed ID into a social platform, something like that?
Yep, we've bought we've purchased hash data before and uploaded it to social. We'll also we'll rent data for 12-month unlimited usage that has postal and email, and it's our file to do whatever we want. We actually do that a fair amount on the digital side, because the digital side of our business is mostly B2B industrial type companies, and so lead generation sales, like they have true sales forces, and so we'll rent that data for 12 months, and then they could do whatever they want with it. Like the sales team can go crazy on it, making calls and everything. And then we've got it for what we need, which is uploading to social, sending out emails, direct mail if it's in their budget. So that's kind of how it looks.
What do you find the value of using direct mail, especially from a performance standpoint? Where do you see the real value in using direct mail today? Most people, if I was having a conversation with them with a new budget, the CFO is going to allocate new money to it. It's 99% of the conversations I've had with clients all over the country have been, we're going to put more towards Facebook or Google or, whatever it is. But there's not a lot of direct mail increase in conversations today that I've seen.
Yeah, obviously it comes down to testing. We've found it. We have automotive clients, and we've tested direct mail, and it has not worked, so we stopped doing it. We've got some clients in the home improvement space on the digital side. They use us for full digital, a full digital program. But then every quarter they'll drop an every door direct mail, which is a very inexpensive piece of direct mail, kind of down dirty, just blanking a certain geography. And that always gets them kitchen remodels, easily pays for itself. So for them, they look at it as like an extra boost, like a shot in the arm. If they got the budget, they pour it into that. And I think, like, going back to what I said before, like the nonprofits, they just need direct mail, but we do a lot with food delivery services, and simple 6x11 postcards, fairly inexpensive. It's just another touch point for them. Of course, they're going crazy on the digital side, and they look at direct mail as another touch point that they can't get on the digital side, especially when you're only competing with maybe 10 to 15 pieces of mail in the inbox.
Exactly. Are you also doing any triggered digital to direct mail type pieces where they acted on a digital touch point and then you either sent them an email as some sort of retargeting or a direct mail piece as an on-demand retargeted direct mail piece?
We have. I wouldn't say it's a very common strategy for us. We have tested it for some agricultural companies. We've tested it, tobacco. We don't work with them anymore, but they would get a lot of data from various.
Well, it's hard to scale because there's or scaled, maybe not the right word, but you're relying on them to act on the digital.
Yeah.
And you've got to take that and marry it up to a list to make certain that it bumps up to the right home address and then send it to them in a timely fashion. That's on-demand direct mail is tough, but it could be a great follow-up. So from what you've seen, how do people need to differentiate their messaging strategies with print and digital? Say differentiate / align.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of being out of the box, like getting yourself out of the box and be a little more creative, and because I find that things that are very normal, it becomes white noise, and so if the client's okay with it, we try to be a little bit. What's the best word?
Which is why I noticed 3 direct mail pieces out of 500 emails that I ignored.
Yeah. And plus, you weren't getting a lot, especially with the last 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah,
direct mail dried up for sure. Yeah, and I think with direct mail too, it comes down to formats. You can get very creative with the format and the messaging and the envelopes that you use. We've had a lot of success using very clear envelopes for the direct mail, so they could see what the brochure is inside. We've had a lot of success with number 10 envelopes that are closed face with a label on, like an actual label, and then what looks like a label, but it's actually just printed on to save money. Live stamps versus indicia. And so for the direct mail, it comes down to a lot. It's the format that you test. It can make a big difference.
Well, I wasn't trying to shove you into the direct mail only conversation on the show. It's just something that there aren't a lot of people talking about. But I did want to talk about other online advertising strategies that you look at. I know that you often speak about 5 effective paid online strategies. Elaborate on what you think those are. If I had, again, whether it's even $1 million today to spend on a campaign, where do I take that and put that in advertising? What are some effective methods?
Yeah, I mean, these are some of these strategies. You obviously it's been mentioned on the show before, so it's not going to be anything new. But the paid outlets that we always take advantage of. So like when clients come to us, especially on the manufacturing side, they're looking for like an integrated approach where we're not relying on one channel, just like SEO, and paid is a big part of the overall plan. And so we take advantage obviously of Google Ads, remarketing, shopping, text ads, um, ads on Google Maps, and so just taking advantage of that search traffic on Google. It's very big for the types of clients that we work with, and then very big with social media too. We look at social as a different platform than most. We don't. I mean, we'll run some lead gen campaigns on social, but we actually use social media more for a means of producing content. So content's always a big part of our strategy. So we'll do transcriptions with clients, get the content, edit it into a blog post and post it, optimize it and all of that. And we use LinkedIn and Facebook primarily as a means to syndicate or distribute that content. And so we don't look at LinkedIn and Facebook as much as a lead gen platform, though I know there's plenty of agencies that use it very successfully. Just the types of clients that we have, we use it more to syndicate and distribute the content. And so, but yeah, and then obviously YouTube advertising as well. That's usually a big part of it as well. So between those, that's.
Yeah, that's fair. So I know one of the things too that's a big focus for you is self-improvement. As I was thinking about this, about your own company's journey being 55 years, not easy for a lot of people, even if they're 55 years old, to continue to look at self-improvement. But what does that mean to you? Why is that a topic of interest to you, continued self-improvement?
I always like to think like, why not? Like, why not work on yourself? Why
I
not try
think
to grow?
there are a very few amount of people who really, really do that, though, that ask themselves that in the mirror and think, why not? Because they get stuck doing the same thing. Think of how many marketers today that are really thinking about direct mail. Very, very few think, why not? It's always hard for a lot of people to be agnostic about the marketing or advertising channel and more about the performance for the client and their end customer. So I love it, but that was my bad interruption at your why not story.
No, I think it's a fair statement. I guess you don't know what you don't know. Like you're not exposed to that type of world and like the Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar type stuff. You just don't know anything. You're not exposed to it. If you're not exposed to it, then it's up to you to naturally just show interest in it, and that's maybe unlikely. And so I was exposed to it. Just I used to read. I still read a lot. I read a lot when I was younger, and just got introduced to different authors, and it just became a real passion for me. And so for me, I think like I want to grow myself and become a better leader. And I feel like if I'm going to go to the gym, for example, to make my physical body stronger, like why would I not do stuff to make my mindset stronger? To me, it goes very hand in hand. You have to have an equal work on both. And so I'm big into morning routines. I'm trying to help other people get into personal development. My team, that's part of my leadership. I don't know if, I'm always badgering them with quotes and with advice and stuff. And, maybe a couple are showing interest, and that's fine. It's your life. I don't expect everyone to show interest in it, but for me, it's also like the impact too. Like if I can help other people get into it, and if I could show up better for my family and for my team, as best as in my ability, and then they start to show interest and they start to do the same thing. If you think about the ripple effect, it just gets me all jazzed up when I think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Well, Ryan, I asked this of all my guests. What is your favorite kind of shark and why?
So I'm going to give you an answer. Obviously, the great white's pretty cool because it's so powerful, but I'm going to give you an answer that probably hasn't been said on here. I did a little bit of research. I wouldn't say it's my favorite shark, but I knew you were going to ask me that, so I wanted to have a good answer. And so it'd be the silky shark.
Yeah, I just swam with them a couple of months ago down in Florida. Yeah.
Okay. And The reason is I read that they're persistent hunters, and I think persistency is a great trait. I think it's a trait that I have, and so like it resonates well with me. So I was just googling, what are persistent shark hunters, and
That's
so these shark.
fantastic. No, I appreciate you doing that much homework. Well, Ryan, it's a special time I show. Are you ready for the 5 most interesting and important questions you're going to be asked today?
I'll do my best. I'm
All
ready.
right. Number 1, I was going to say print or digital, but let's say stamps or banner ads.
Uh, I'm on the digital side, so I have to say banner ads.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, postcards or envelopes?
Envelopes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Number 3, paid search or paid social?
Paid search for sure, because the commercial intent is there.
Thank you. Number 4, Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar?
Jim Rohn, but I have to be fair to Zig Ziglar, I have not consumed much of his content, so I'm going based on just consuming a lot of Jim Rohn's content. But I have to give Zig a fair shot.
Yeah, Zig's one of the greatest speakers I've ever seen in person in my life before he passed away. He's amazing. And plus most of his content, thank God, has been digitized. But the early days, it was all cassette tape, which was scary to see that much on cassette. And number 5, and the most important question you're going to be asked today is biscuits or cornbread?
Cornbread. Love cornbread.
I don't think of Jersey as real biscuit country. So Ryan, where can people find out more about you, what you're doing in the space and in digital and print and more?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me on, Kenneth.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. So go to Ballantine.com. Ballantine spelled B as in Bob, Allantine. Ballantine.com. And if anyone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn as well, Ryan Cote, would love to connect.
Perfect. And Ryan, thank you so much for being with us today on A Shark's Perspective.
Thanks.
So there was my conversation with Ryan Cote, the Director of Digital Services and Partner at Ballantine, a third-generation family-owned direct mail and digital marketing company, serving small business clients for over 50 years. Let's take a look at 3 key takeaways from my conversation with him. First, look at direct mail again and see if it fits. Don't just look at it as a channel, new or old. Look at it as how you integrate your efforts together. You should do that with all channels, digital, print, direct mail, social, TV, etc. Sometimes, honestly, that just takes a new partner to help you implement that strategy. Second, get creative. Don't just think about direct mail or any other form of your marketing and think about you having to stick a boring letter in a regular number 10 envelope. Get creative to make your print piece stand out. Third, whatever you're doing, whether this is in business, sales, marketing, lead gen, or life, allow time for self-improvement. For many, it's just a book or a seminar or a podcast. I applaud Ryan for doing this for himself as well. It's much better when it's an applied mindset where you look at continuous improvement just like it's as fluid as water. So be water, my friend. Got a question? Send me an email to kenneth@asharksperspective.com. Thank you again for the privilege of your time. Whatever you're doing today, keep improving. Don't mail it in. Be creative. And join us on the next episode of A Shark's Perspective.